They're telling you inflation is down to 3%. Okay, then answer this for yourself. Why does everything you buy still feel like it's punching a hole straight through your budget? I mean, if you feel like you're running harder and ending up with less, you're not imagining anything. Your math is fine. Their story is the part that doesn't add up. So let's break down what's actually hitting your wallet in plain English, because the headlines sure aren't going to do it for you. Here's why this whole 3% inflation thing is a half-truth. At best, when they say inflation is down to 3%, that does not mean prices are falling. It only means prices are rising slower, not lower. Prices almost never go down. Sure, you'll see eggs or gas dip for a second, but the total cost of living, that thing almost never walks backwards. Inflation stacks year after year on top of itself. We've had 4 straight years of massive stacking. So when someone on TV says, hey, don't worry, it cooled to 3%, what they're really saying is, we're still raising prices. We're just not doing it as fast as last year. That's why the number feels so disconnected from real life, because 3% today is sitting on top of everything that already happened. If something's already gone up 25%, adding another 3% isn't relief, it's more pressure. So the problem isn't the 3%, it's the mountain underneath it, and nobody talks about that part. From 2020 to 2024, the US stacked roughly 23 to 28% cumulative inflation, depending on where you live. That's the real weight sitting under today's 3%. So when inflation cools, it's cooling on top of higher food, higher rent, higher insurance, higher utilities, higher taxes, higher fees. Nothing resets. Cooling doesn't rewind the last 4 years. It just slows down the speed of the climb, not the climb itself. And notice how Washington never explains this part, not because people wouldn't understand it, but because it exposes how unstable the whole system really is. And that's exactly why your paycheck feels smaller today than it did 4 or 5 years ago. Put another way, that same $30 to $35 grocery bag, it's $50 now, and the bag is smaller. Some of you are telling me that you used to spend $250 at Walmart, and now the same run is $500 to $600. I mean, even if you got a raise, it didn't outrun the stack. Most people aren't getting raises, they're getting patches. Let me show you the real numbers regular people feel. Food is up 25 to 35% since 2019. Rents are up 20 to 40% depending on your zip code. Auto insurance up around 30% in just a couple years. Utilities well over 10% in most regions. And property taxes, everywhere they're rising. Hundreds of dollars in some cases. Haircuts, childcare, repairs, double digits across the board. Even cheap stuff is gone. Dollar stores aren't a dollar. Value menus aren't a value. I've seen sheet pizzas pushing $50. So when someone chirps, but inflation is only 3%, your brain, it fires back. Then why does everything cost double? Because the inflation you feel is not the inflation they tell you. CPI is a technical measurement, a formula, averages and weightings and categories that don't look anything like your actual life. I'm not saying the number is fake, I'm saying it's incomplete. It leaves out the stuff that really hits you, like repairs and fees and taxes, subscriptions and premiums, the little price jumps nobody reports. We feel the real inflation, not the headline. And here's the uncomfortable part a lot of people don't want to admit. Our entire economy runs on confidence. Confidence is the fuel. If confidence drops, spending drops, investing drops, business slows, hiring freezes, layoffs start, and the whole machine shakes. So the government and the media that repeats the government can't talk to you the same way you talk at your kitchen table. Not necessarily because they're plotting anything, but maybe they are, but because mostly that they rely on calm. If people panic, they stop spending. When people stop spending, companies cut jobs. And when companies cut jobs, people panic more. It's a feedback loop. That's why the messaging always leans, hey, everything's fine. Not because everything is fine, but because confidence is fragile. Now let's get clear on this. The reason 3% still hurts, it's simple. Your income did not go up 23 to 28% the way your cost of living did. Prices compounded. Your paycheck didn't. That gap you feel, that squeeze in your grocery bill, your utilities, your rent, your taxes, that's the difference between headline inflation and real inflation. And that's why the middle class feels wiped out. Renters feel stuck. Buyers feel boxed out. People with solid salaries still feel broke. Savings rates are at decade lows. And it's not because people became irresponsible all of a sudden. It's because the math changed and nobody told them. They see 3% inflation, but they don't see the 4-year stack underneath it. And this isn't slowing down. Sooner or later, the math stops lining up. And if you run it forward even a little, it's not hard to see when that happens. So let me give you the strategy, because complaining doesn't fix this. Strategy does. First, cash flow over comfort. A rising price economy rewards you for having margin. Margin is the money left after everything is paid. More margin equals more options. That means lowering expenses wherever you can, even temporarily. The system isn't changing. Inflation, it's baked in, so you got to adjust. Lower your baseline lifestyle. Raise your margin. That move alone softens inflation more than really anything else. Next, avoid debt that doesn't pay you back. No new debt unless the thing you're buying goes up in value. And avoid high interest debt at all costs. Well, at most costs. If what you're using the debt for pays you more than the debt costs you, then you can consider it. But even then, be really, really careful, because debt kills margin. Next, build your emergency fund. The first 10 grand is just the starter kit. You want a full buffer. Uncertainty has been the theme for years now. Savings equals stability. Next, keep investing consistently and automate it. Dollar cost average, small, steady, automatic. $200 every 2 weeks, $1,000 a month, whatever your number is, just keep going. That's how you quietly build assets that eventually outrun your expenses. Next, increase your income strategically. Your best inflation hedge isn't a product, it's your skills. More value in the marketplace equals a higher earning ceiling. If that means new skills, a side business, a pivot, take it. Price stability might be years away, so you become the stable one. Here, now let me put this all together. 3% inflation is the headline. It's not the full story. Your wallet lives in the real world. Rent, taxes, groceries, insurance, utilities, and those categories aren't cooling. And that's the real punchline to all of this. The system is not slowing down for you. Inflation isn't waiting for you to figure it out. And the math? It's already moving whether you move or not. But here's the part nobody ever says out loud. The fastest way to get ahead of rising prices isn't cutting more or grinding harder. It's owning something that actually grows faster than the cost of living. Not someday, not after you finally have time, right now, while you still have your income, your schedule, and your stability intact. Most people think they need to quit their job, start over, or become full-time investors to do that. They don't. In fact, your W-2 is the very thing that gives you the upper hand when everything else is getting more expensive. Your income, it's leverage. It's your shield against the math breaking. It's the one advantage most people never use. And that's why I pulled this video out here for you to watch next, because it shows exactly how regular people are buying their first income property without quitting their job, without blowing up their schedule, and without pretending to be full-time investors.